Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. Here we are again on another wonderful and beautiful Wednesday evening. This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And we invite each and every person to join us on this mental health awareness journey that we are on. And on every Wednesday and any day that you may need it to always and forever, let's check in. My name is Brian Livingston. I am the moderator of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. It is my job, my duty to keep this thing rolling on the Amtrak. Hopefully Amtrak will sponsor us one day.
And that'd be nice.
Oh man, but hey, we are currently seeking sponsors and advocates to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast and all things that fall under the umbrella of the Sports Bros Podcast LLC. We are out here growing and doing big things in this year of our Lord 2025. And so when it comes to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, we're going to go on a quick little journey to introduce the originators. First, by way of Cleveland, Ohio, my man Edwin Vereen.
Be Live, it is, at the time of this recording and date, it is 6:09 and it is June 4th, 2025, and it is 89 degrees outside. It's hot out them doors. But yeah, good. We need some heat up here. But other than that, man, I'm doing good. June is Men's Mental Health Month. You know what that means, man. It's time for us to opine on some stuff. But other than that, man, I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain.
It is very good to hear on this Men's Mental Health Month, as well as all the other things that fall under the umbrella of the month of June, including National Happy Be Live Day, which is coming up soon. At the time of the release of this podcast, I will be a year older. Ta-da! All
That's
right,
right.
cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Enough about me. We're going to continue on this mental health journey to introduce the other originator of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast by way of here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, my man, Kevin Marshall.
What can I say? Out making money on the grind and hustle.
Oh, man, keep doing what you do. Outstanding job. Keep hustling, my friend. It's always a pleasure to have you, sir. With that being said, we're going to dive right into our weekly topic, and we're going to dive in on a couple things. The theme of this month, once again, is men's mental health awareness, and we're going to focus a little bit more on what makes us men tick. The topic of this week is the pressure to, quote unquote, man up. Toxic masculinity's effect on mental health. We live in a society right now that does ask a lot when it comes to men, when it comes to people in general, And then it is taken to another level when it comes to how we as men are perceived in society. On one side, are we supposed to still be the providers, the head of the household, the alpha, the breadwinner, all of these different things that fall under being a man? Or are we supposed to where profess an equality and men and women are alike and this whole blanket statement, and it's sort of where men and masculinity becomes a negative undertone. And so it's just what what really defines toxic masculinity. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pass over the mic to my man Edwin Vereen as he opines a little bit further on this week's topic.
Yep, as B Live mentioned, we are our focus this month for the next few weeks will be Men's Mental Health Month for the month of June, and I was able to find some topics. And as soon as I saw this topic, I was like, guess what? We are going to talk about this because it's more prevalent than not. You see it more than you see it more. You see it more often than you think. You see it more often. I'll just say that. I forgot the other words because sometimes the words are just leaving me and they're escaping me. But nevertheless, I was able to conduct some quick research and I found an article courtesy of Western Tidewater Community Service Board, and it is entitled Addressing the Barriers of Men's Mental Health and the Negative Side Effects of Just Being Told to Man Up. All right. So, statistically, men are less likely than women to speak for their mental health. Tragic outcomes of this is that more than four times, four times as many men as women die by suicide each year. The men's mental health crisis has reached a turning point here in the U.S., and we all must try to do our part to further prevent this tragedy. What keeps men from getting mental help? Mental health help. Toxic masculinity and being told just to man up. Men have historically been socialized to internalize their emotions instead of talking about them. One survey found that 40% of men had never spoken to anyone about their mental health. The same survey found that 4 out of every 10 men, it would take thoughts of suicide to compel them to ask for support for their mental health. When men dealing with the difficult emotions, they often are told to man up and just get over it. This can include things that's that are said directly by them in adulthood. Be a man, suck it up. Or even starting in childhood. Boys don't cry, stop acting like a girl. Other times it's not direct statements that affect the men, way the men handle their emotions, but what they've learned indirectly from society, that men are supposed to be strong, tough, and able to overcome any hardship without help from anyone else. I am so guilty of that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Somebody at work by edge needs some help. No, I got it. Knowing I need help. Yeah, I go lying again. It says in the caption here, it says men can find it more difficult being open about their mental health and speaking and seeking support because it's likely to go against the kinds of messages they received growing up. And then the article goes on and says, why telling someone to man up is so dangerous. Let's see. There's a long article. There's a good piece here by Gabriel Nathan, and he says, "I remember being in kindergarten one time and being particularly unsettled by a picture of a large spider in a book. Logically, I went and hid under the table. Miss Perlman wasn't having any of it. Oh, Gabriel, she said so disapprovingly, don't be such a sissy. Wow. Yeah, ain't that something? Yeah, to tell a kid that, you know what I'm saying? That is really, really wild. All right. And so let's see. Let's scroll along in this article here some more. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because of course, we like to kind of skim through it and have like a conversation and discussion about it. Men's mental health and how we can help it. Societal change can take years to happen, which can often feel discouraging, but you can affect real and sometimes immediate change around you by simply changing your own attitudes and behaviors. If you ever find yourself thinking or saying that men should always be tough or strong, consider how your benefits impact the boys and men in your life. And then it also says be vigilant about if you're having those suicidal thoughts. Notice them. Don't pay them. Don't shimmy them off. Some of the signs are notable shift in mood, even if they seem calmer or happier than usual, extreme despair or hopelessness about life, talking about, writing, or researching death or suicide, saying goodbye to family and friends, social withdrawal, purchasing something which could be used for suicide, such as a gun or a knife, or stockpiling pills, high levels of anxiety or agitation, excessive or new alcohol and drug abuse. And so pretty much this article is a pretty good article. If you get a chance to read into it, Be Live will post in the description box, and it tells what to look for when it comes to things of that nature. So with that being said, now it's time to talk about certain instances. Be Live, you know as well as I do, we grew up in the same part of South Carolina, damn near the same part of town, and it was always told that be strong. Men don't cry. We don't do this and we don't do that. And then years down the road, when someone has a moment and they snap per se, and they do something that, oh, I never thought he'd do nothing like that. Because you know as well as I do, the conversation about mental health is not really had in our area of the state of South Carolina. We're not dissing nobody. We're just giving you straight facts. All right, we give you straight facts, and Be Loud can vouch for that. But I think when it comes to that and toxic masculinity, it's like, okay, man up. You're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to do this, and this. And like Be Live mentioned earlier, we grapple with a lot of societal norms and abnormals, if you will, where the man's supposed to do this, the woman's supposed to do that, the man's supposed to do this, the woman's supposed to do that. Because I know a lot of people that's like, look, I don't go by the book of societal norms. Just like someone I know, and she's like, well, I don't want to pump gas, put air in my tire. I'm like, well, I told her, I said, well, honey, I mean, unless I'm not trying to sound sexist, but if once you find that loving husband or that caring boyfriend, I mean, it's either you over here with a flat tire or out of gas. So I mean, it's all on you from there. But you got to think of it's just one of those things we just have to look and be like, damn, like we're told to man up, we're told to be tough, and like a lot of times we just want to be vulnerable because I think I go back now, Be Live, and I'm looking at my head, I'm like, why was this kid so quiet in school? Why was that kid so quiet in school? This kid, and I can see the faces of the kids that are quiet and they stick to themselves. Even when I go to work, I can see the faces of the people that are quiet and that stick to themselves. I try my best to be nice to them, but yeah, man, toxic masculinity, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's no place for it in society, and I just wish that us as men, particularly black men, that we gain that trust, find someone that we can talk to that we don't know that's not gonna throw it back up in our face, and just talk. Because I know when I talk, I feel a whole lot better. Be Live, what say you?
Here's one thing that, especially, and I do appreciate that piece of information that you provided. And I was glancing through it, and I was reading through it, and then I was applying it to. I was like thinking about like how I was raised, how I was taught as a child, and then when you spoke of that kindergartner, and the teacher was like, "Don't be a sissy," that is not only just a societal norm, but it's something that's almost ingrained in you from childhood, from growing up, from birth almost,
Mm-hmm.
because like boys, I mean, it's even associated by color.
Right.
Boys are blue, girls are pink. Like it's ingrained in us that boys are supposed to be a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's taught to us as a kid that you're supposed to be tough. And then you realize 30, 40 years later, well, hold on, we have the same vulnerabilities as anybody. And to have it instilled that it's not okay to talk to somebody about it, because I mean, you got to put on this facade, that tough exterior. It's devastating. And I mean, there's so many things that's linked to it. And I mean, I this is such a, I mean, this is such a pinpoint topic, but it has so many branches to it. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna, I'm gonna step out on a limb with this one, because being from the South, being African American, being in touch with your feelings is almost directly linked to homosexuality. It really is, and it's something that is frowned upon in the Black community.
I
To
can see
the
where you're coming from with that. I can see where
to
you're coming from with
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where if you express your feelings about something, or you express that there's something that you don't like, or you're going through something, it's like it's a form of weakness.
that.
And that's where, like, the term sissy is part, that term, that's why that resonated in such a way. Like, and then now I gotta come out here with my chest out, like, oh no, I'm a heterosexual man. And I but see, you see
Yeah.
how quickly that directly relates to a certain topic?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's frowned upon. And you have to immediately correct yourself. And it even comes to it, and it's even prevalent today, where you say something that's suspect, quote
Mm.
unquote, and then you gotta say pause.
Pause. No
Oh,
homo.
no homo, or now the ever famous one now, no Diddy. Like,
Yeah.
what like, it's so funny that we can't even eat hot dogs now.
No.
Like,
Mm.
you can't even eat.
What you doing? You're putting a glizzy in your mouth. I'm eating a hot dog, sir. That's what I'm
Like,
doing.
I enjoy hot dogs. What is going on in society?
Yeah.
But those are comical, um, like, references to it. But there's a lot of actual underlying tones to just the way that men behave, and how
Mm.
it can be perceived just as quickly as such. And like I said, the main topic that we're talking about is just the toxic masculinity. Like, we have to be a certain way in order for society to perceive us as, oh, that's a man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold up. Why? And for who? And for what? Like,
Exactly.
and the fact that it leads to such clinical depression, all the way to the point of men not even thinking about seeking therapy or mental health until they're actually thinking about ending their life, it is true. And it's like, it is like next level. Like, it's painful, but it's a,
All because of some perceived social image. Because if you think about it, be like looking at hindsight, the social it's a societal norm. I don't even know if I want to call it a norm, because sometimes that behavioral is not normal. Just like I said in the article, when the woman was like, "Oh, Gabriel, stop being a sissy." I mean, whatever happened to being a little kid that's scared?
Well, it, the applying and to piggyback off of that, it goes back to what I used to say a while ago when we had first started this, that it's become such a generational curse that black men have to be strong, that black men have to have no weakness, that black men don't get tired. When in reality, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all on the different walks of life. We're all on the different walks of hustle.
Mm.
So it goes to say, asking a question of, who are you to tell me that you're better than me? Who are you to tell me that you can coincide and walk a mile in my shoes in one day? Like, nobody, I can't walk your life. B Live can't walk mine. B Live, Ed, you can't walk B Live. And it's
Mm-mm.
just become such a generational curse that it there's no telling where it truly started from.
one thing that I want to dive into as well, is because like, look at the different things that happens in the African American household that are negatively impacted because of toxic masculinity.
Mm.
There is a lot of violence and black on black crime because we are supposed to be a certain way. We are supposed to have this. We're supposed to, like I said, be the breadwinner. We're supposed to, like, have this, have that, and do this. We're supposed to be the head and not the tail and all this crazy stuff that we've been taught all throughout our lives. And it turns into, because we've got all this stuff loaded into our head, that we got to be the alpha dog, the male dog. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, you run into another alpha dog, male dog. Next thing you know, you got to fight for no reason because two alpha males in the same room are beefing because they got to be the big dog in the room, and it makes no sense. And
Mm-mm.
it turns into some of the craziest things in the world, and we're already at a disproportionate rate of like just success as a whole. So now, as opposed to black men trying to succeed in the business world and the science world and basically general society, and
Mm-hmm.
when they don't do that, now they got to turn to other means of trying to provide and have that level of success that's been built into their brains. So now they turn into a life of crime,
Right.
selling drugs, and it is toxic to the African American male community. And like I a long time ago, I told myself there's going to be certain times in life that I'm going to struggle. There's going to be certain times in life that I may not make. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to strap on. I'm going to strap on the bootstraps and keep it pushing. Only to a point. I had to make a conscious choice and level to myself. Say, hey, there's certain things that I won't do
Mm-hmm.
because it is not worth it. So if there's anything that for our listeners to this program, if there's anything I can ingrain into the way of thinking, especially when it comes to the African American male, it's not worth it. It's not worth the headache, the heartache, trying to prove to somebody else who you are. It's
Yeah.
not worth the headache and the heartache trying to show society, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and your chest is out. Your ego will end up killing you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to put ego aside and really more or less than anything, like what is healthy for you? Not an image of yourself, not portraying yourself as something. What is healthy mentally and physically? What is healthy for you?
Mm-hmm.
And the very moment that you realize that, above all, it is a level of peace that I can tell you firsthand is a beautiful thing. When you do not let societal norms, the perpetration, the generational curses, the second that you realize that it's not worth it, there's a level of peace. And let me tell you this, it is very tough to obtain that peace. I can tell you that off rip. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be somebody that's in your ear that's saying you're doing less than. Oh,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna. There's always going to be somebody in the room that they're going to need to belittle you to make themselves feel better. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. That's a lot of things when it comes to ego. Is that you deal with a lot of people that will easily put you down just to make themselves feel better. You gotta brush your shoulders off. You gotta dust it off, keep it pushing, and make sure you do what is healthy for you. That may sound like a selfish way of thinking, but really it's just a way of life. You have to take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. Stop looking at societal norms, stop looking at social media, stop looking at music videos, stop looking at all these other outside forces to determine how you should feel about you.
Be live, and since we're here, I know this might be off topic real quick, but I'm in a group, right? And there's always, I swear, there's this tension between black men and black women, and I'm just like, I said, look, here's the deal. I think when it comes to men and women in general, we need each other.
Oh yeah.
We need each other. So let's, if we can, if we can stay away from the toxicity of some of these posts with like the worst thing about there's a good thing and a bad thing about social media to be live. Good thing is about social media is you can make a lot of things happen like this podcast. You can interact with our friends, our family at a moment's notice. The bad side about the internet is You have to deal with people and their opinions and their think tanks and their thought pieces, and they're thinking that the word is gospel, that the word is bond, when it's truly not. It's all about personal opinion. And the thing about it is, only thing you need is one person to get behind it and to share it to multiple people. And the next know it's this whole, men, they should be pursuing women. Women don't want to be, women should be pursuing men. I'm like, look, I look at it like this. If somebody like you and you like them, y'all pursue each other.
All
Y'all
right.
dig each other, y'all pursue each other. Don't spend no time trying to chase something that don't want nothing to do with you, because you ain't doing nothing but waste your time, your energy, and your money if you're sitting behind it spending it. So I go back to say, like, about toxic masculinity is just like you said, Be Live. This pressure from society. We have to set our own goals, our own thing. We have to literally do our own thing and jam to the beat of our own drum, because if we continue to feed into some of this BS that society, we're going to be another sheep in this big old field called life. And who got time for that? I know I don't.
All right. Kev, you have any other points that you want to make?
Boy, I almost didn't hear you. Um, nah, it's just one of those things that stay positive, but always take the time to find out who you are.
Yeah.
And in that right there, finding out who you are is such a powerful point and statement, because that's what is a lot of times, a lot of the stress, a lot of the mess that we go through is because we don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And so we spend a bunch of time trying to figure out who we are. We're letting other people define who we are because we don't know who we are ourselves. And then that just adds on to the stigma. And the very second you find yourself, or it's essentially not find yourself, and you start chasing somebody else's way of living, it's tough. And I hope that by hearing this, for anybody that's struggling with their own self identity, that they're struggling through that toxic masculinity because they don't exactly know who they are, is take a second each day before you start the day, stop, recollect, and just think about what is good for you.
Yep.
Don't look at other people and be like, oh, that's how I should be. Just figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And because we are not cookie cutter, we are all unique individuals, and each individual's way of living, you need to mold and form that yourself. Nothing is completely etched in stone. You can reinvent and recreate yourself at any given point of time. And the way that one thing that has become more and readily available in society is the ability to seek help. You're not in this alone.
No.
There's many avenues and options for people to reach out and talk to someone. And I'm telling you, experiencing therapy myself, it is, first of all, it's about the manliest thing you can do.
Yep.
Because it helps you get in touch with yourself. Knowing yourself is being who you are. And that is being a man. That is being a woman. That is being who exactly you are. Is knowing and finding out about yourself and what makes you you, what makes you unique, what makes you special. Those are the things that make a man, that makes a woman, that makes us people, makes us human, makes us who we are. So take a second and really reinvest in yourself and find out who you are. And that, I believe, will help in this mental health journey, and it will help cure toxic masculinity. With that being said, fellas, you know what Zoom be trying to do, be trying to cut us off and everything.
Right when
That
we start hitting our stride, too. God, well, we gonna fix this one day. I swear we are.
Oh man, but it's one of those things. I'm very fortunate, very glad that we were able to touch on this topic. And again, there's going to be an opportunity that we revisit this, and we're going to talk about different topics that relate to this throughout the month of June when it comes to Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And with that being said, we encourage each and every one of our listeners, viewers, subscribers, all the whole 9 yards, like it, and all the things that you're supposed to do with social media.
Yeah.
Each and every Wednesday, each and every day, as you need it, to always and forever. Let's check in. This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. We'll see you next time.
Also, hey, find a man, give him a hug, wrap your arms around him, and tell you love him, because you never know, you just might have saved that person's life. Just a thought, just a thought.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Please join us every week, Wednesdays on Zoom at 6 p.m., and join our Facebook group for updates and to participate. We care about your mental health, so let's check in.